What if everything you thought you knew about asking was slightly wrong? Not completely wrong. Not embarrassingly wrong. Just slightly off. A few degrees. The kind of error that feels invisible in the moment but compounds over time into a pattern of results that never quite match the effort you put in. You ask. They hesitate. You ask. They say, "Let me think about it," and never come back. You ask. They say yes, but without the energy, without the follow-through, without the full commitment that would actually make a difference. And you wonder, did I say something wrong? Was it the timing? Was it me? Here is what was actually happening. You were asking the right things, in mostly the right way, but you were missing one element, one small, counterintuitive shift in how you frame and deliver your asks that changes everything about how people receive them. It is not a manipulation tactic. It is not a sales trick. It is not a psychological hack designed to get people to do things against their will. It is something far more elegant than that. It is the deepest truth about how human beings actually make decisions, and once you understand it, you will never ask the same way again. Part 1. The ask that almost works. So close, and yet. I want to tell you about a specific kind of frustration. It is not the frustration of never trying. That frustration, as painful as it is, has a clear solution. Try. This frustration is subtler, and in some ways harder. It is the frustration of trying, genuinely, thoughtfully, carefully trying, and still not quite getting there. You did the work in episode 1. You recognized that silence was costing you everything. You did the work in episode 2. You named your fears, faced them, built your toolkit. You did the work in episode 3. You learned the ASK framework. You practiced the scripts. You started having the conversations you'd been avoiding. And things got better. Genuinely better. But somewhere in some asks there is still a gap. The conversation goes well, but nothing changes. The request lands cleanly, but the yes feels reluctant. The ask is heard, but not felt. That gap is what this episode is about. Because there is a layer beneath the framework. A layer beneath the scripts and the clarity and the courage. A layer that operates at the level of human psychology, so fundamental that most communication advice never even reaches it. And once you find it, once you feel it in the asks you make, the gap closes. Not partially, not gradually, completely. Let me give you a scene. Two people walk into the same manager's office on the same day, asking for the same promotion. Person A has prepared thoroughly. They have their achievements listed, their numbers ready. Their ask is clear and specific. They anchor the conversation beautifully. They state their request without hedging. They know their why. By every measure of what we covered in episode 3, they're doing it right. Person B walks in with the same preparation, the same achievements, the same clarity, but they do one thing differently. One small thing. Almost invisible. It takes maybe 15 extra seconds. Person B gets the promotion. Person A gets told, kindly, respectfully, that the timing isn't right. What did Person B do? That is the question this entire episode answers. And the answer is going to feel simple when you hear it. Not simple as in easy. Simple as in elegant. The way the best truths always are. Welcome to the series finale of The Power of Asking. If you are just joining us, go back. Start from episode 1. Because what we are about to cover in this episode builds on everything that came before it, and the full transformation only happens when you have all 4 pieces. If you have been here from the beginning, thank you. You have done real work across these 4 episodes, and what we are about to unlock is the reward for that work. Subscribe and turn on notifications before we go further, because after the series ends, what comes next is going to build on everything we have covered here in ways you are not expecting. Now, let's finish what we started. Part 2. The missing layer. What nobody tells you about how humans say yes. Here is a fundamental truth about human decision-making. People do not make decisions based purely on logic. You already know this in an abstract way. But I want you to really feel it, because most people, when they prepare an ask, still prepare it as if logic is the primary driver. They build the case. They gather the evidence. They present the facts. And they are confused when a clearly logical, well-evidenced ask still gets a reluctant response. Here is what is actually happening. When a person is deciding whether to say yes to your request, two things are happening simultaneously in their brain. The first is the rational evaluation. Is this ask reasonable? Is it justified? Do the facts support it? Can we accommodate it? The second, and this is the part that changes everything, is the emotional evaluation. How does saying yes to this make me feel? Do I feel good about this person right now? Do I feel respected, considered, seen? Does this ask make me feel like a partner in something, or like a means to an end? And here is the critical insight. When the emotional evaluation is positive, people find reasons to say yes even when the logic is imperfect. When the emotional evaluation is negative or even just neutral, people find reasons to say no even when the logic is airtight. This is not irrationality. This is humanity. And the asking trick, the simple, powerful, elegant shift that this entire episode is built around, is the practice of making the emotional evaluation undeniably positive before, during, and after your ask, not through flattery, not through manipulation, through something that costs you nothing and changes everything, through genuine acknowledgement. Acknowledgement, the act of truly seeing the person you are asking, of recognizing who they are, what they carry, what they bring, what they have already given, before you ask them for anything more. It sounds simple, and it is, but it is not common. Think about the last time someone asked something of you, and before they made the ask, they took a moment to genuinely recognize something about you. Not as a strategy, not as a preamble designed to soften you up, but as a real, human, honest acknowledgement. I know you've been carrying a lot lately, and I want you to know I see that. Before I ask you anything, I want to say that what you did last month made a real difference, and I haven't told you that clearly enough. I know your time is valuable. I genuinely appreciate that you're giving some of it to me. How did that feel? Different, right? Not just warmer, not just nicer. Fundamentally different in terms of your willingness to engage, to listen, to want to help. That is the power of acknowledgement. And it is the missing layer in almost every ask that almost works. Part 3. The science behind the trick. Why acknowledgement works at a brain level. Let's go a level deeper. Because I want you to understand not just that this works, but why it works. Because when you understand the why, you stop treating it as a technique and start treating it as a truth. And truths are more powerful than techniques. The first reason, the reciprocity principle. In 1984, psychologist Robert Cialdini identified reciprocity as one of the foundational principles of human influence. The principle is simple. When someone gives us something, even something intangible like recognition, acknowledgement, or genuine attention, we feel a natural, almost automatic impulse to give something back. This is not manipulation. It is ancient social wiring. It is the mechanism that allowed human communities to function, the exchange of generosity, the mutual recognition of worth. When you genuinely acknowledge someone before asking, you're giving them something real. Not a gift, not a bribe, but the rare, valuable experience of being truly seen. And the natural human response to being seen is to want to show up for the person who saw you. The second reason, psychological safety. Research in organizational psychology consistently shows that people perform better, engage more deeply, and are more willing to take risks, including the risk of saying yes to something uncertain, when they feel psychologically safe. Psychological safety, at its simplest, means I feel respected here. I feel valued here. My contributions are recognized here. When you acknowledge someone genuinely, you create a microenvironment of psychological safety around your ask. The yes becomes less risky for them because they feel secure in the relationship, secure in your recognition of their worth, secure that their yes will be met with continued respect and not taken for granted. Safety opens doors that logic cannot unlock. The third reason, the contrast effect. Most asks come without acknowledgement. Most requests are transactional, efficient, stripped of warmth in the interest of getting to the point, which means that an ask that leads with genuine recognition is immediately, powerfully different from the dozens of asks that person receives in a week. It stands out, not because it is louder or more urgent or more logically compelling, but because it feels human in a landscape that has become increasingly mechanical. In a world of automated emails, templated requests, and copy-paste outreach, Being genuinely seen is so rare that it is, paradoxically, one of the most powerful things you can offer another person. Part 4. The trick in practice. How to use acknowledgement in every ask. Now, let's make this real. Because acknowledgement, like any powerful tool, can be done well or done poorly. And the difference matters enormously. Done poorly, it sounds like flattery, like a preamble designed to lower someone's guard before you hit them with a real agenda. Done well, it sounds like truth, like a person who genuinely took a moment to see another person before asking anything of them. The difference is not in the words. The difference is in the intention behind them. So before I give you the scripts and the structures, I want to give you the one rule that makes all of it work. The rule is this: only acknowledge what is true. Do not manufacture warmth you don't feel. Do not invent appreciation that doesn't exist. Do not say, "I really value your perspective" to someone whose perspective you have never once considered. People can feel inauthenticity, not always consciously, but it registers. It creates a subtle dissonance that undermines everything that follows. The good news is that if you really look, at any person you are about to ask something of, there is always something true and real to acknowledge. Always. The colleague who has been holding things together under pressure. The manager who gave you a chance when they didn't have to. The partner who keeps showing up even when it's hard. The stranger who took time out of a busy day to meet with you. There is always something true. Find it, say it, mean it, and then ask. The full framework, ASK plus acknowledgement. In episode 3, we built the ASK framework: anchor, state, know your why. Today, we add the element that elevates it from effective to extraordinary. The new structure is acknowledge, anchor, state, know your why. 4 steps. The first one unlocks all the others. Here is what it looks like fully assembled. Acknowledge. Before I say anything else, I want you to know that the way you handled the situation last month didn't go unnoticed. The team was under real pressure, and the way you showed up made a genuine difference. I haven't said that clearly enough, and I wanted to. Anchor. I've been thinking about where I am in my career here, and I want to have an honest conversation with you about it. State. I'd like to be considered for the senior role when it opens, and I'd like to understand what the path to that looks like. Know your why. I'm asking because I'm invested in this team's future, and I want to grow in a direction that serves both of us well. Feel the difference between that and a cold, purely logical ask? The logic is identical. The achievements haven't changed. The request is exactly the same. But the emotional environment of the conversation is completely different. The manager is not just processing a request. They are responding to a person who saw them, valued them, and then asked, from a place of genuine relationship, for something real. That is not a trick. That is human connection being used in service of honest communication. Now, let's apply it across real situations. Asking for a raise with acknowledgement. I want to start by saying, I know you've been advocating for this team in spaces I don't always see, and I genuinely appreciate that. It hasn't gone unnoticed. I'd love to talk about my compensation. I've been here for X time, delivered specific results, and I'd like to discuss moving my salary to a specific number. I'm asking because I want to keep building here, and I want to make sure we're aligned. Asking for support in a relationship with acknowledgement. I want you to know first, I see how much you've been carrying lately. I see the effort you put in, even when you're tired. And I don't say that enough. I want to ask for something not because you haven't been showing up, you have, but because I think if I tell you what I need, we can be even closer. What would help me most right now is specific thing.
Can we talk about that?
Asking for an opportunity with acknowledgement. I've been following what you've built for a while, and I want to be specific. The way you specific thing they did changed how I approach my own work. That doesn't happen often, and I wanted to name it. I'd love to connect. Even briefly, because I'm working towards a specific goal, and I believe there's something genuinely interesting at the intersection of what we're both doing. Would you be open to 15 minutes? Asking for a second chance with acknowledgement. I want to start by acknowledging the patience you've extended to me, especially given how things went. I know that wasn't easy, and I don't take it for granted. I'm not here to make excuses. I want to ask for one more opportunity to show you what I'm actually capable of, and I want to make that case directly because you deserve honesty more than you deserve a polished performance. Notice that in every single one of these, the acknowledgement is specific. Not "you're amazing." Not "I really appreciate everything."
Specific. Real. Named.
The way you handled the pressure last month. The effort you put in even when you're tired. The way that specific thing you did changed how I think. Specificity is what separates genuine acknowledgement from hollow flattery. Flattery is general. Recognition is particular. Learn to be particular, and people will feel the difference in their bones.
Part 5.
The deeper practice, making acknowledgement a way of life. Here is where I want to take this beyond the ask. Because the most powerful thing about learning to acknowledge others genuinely before you ask during conversations, in the quiet moments where nothing is being requested at all, is what it does to you. Not just to your results.
To you.
When you practice acknowledgement consistently, you begin to see people differently. You stop moving through the world transactionally, interacting with people primarily in terms of what they can give you or what you need from them. You start moving through the world relationally, seeing the full human being in front of you. Their effort, their struggles, their contribution, their worth independent of what they can do for you. And that shift, that fundamental shift in how you see and engage with the people around you, changes the quality of every relationship you have. It changes how people feel in your presence. It changes how they talk about you when you're not in the room. It changes the doors that open for you. Not because you are strategically creating goodwill, but because you are genuinely becoming someone worth opening doors for. The asking trick, at its deepest level, is not a trick at all. It is a practice of humanity. And the people who do it well, the leaders, the mentors, the partners, the friends who seem to move through life with an almost effortless magnetism, they are not doing something sophisticated. They're doing something ancient. They're seeing people fully, specifically, without agenda, and then asking. There is one more thing I want to say about this, and it is the most important thing in this entire series. All 4 episodes, the problem, the fear, the framework, the trick, they all point to the same underlying truth. The reason people don't get what they want is not that the world is withholding. It is that they have not yet learned to show up fully in the asking. To show up with clarity, with courage, with skill, and with the kind of genuine human presence that makes people want to say yes, not because they have been maneuvered into it, but because you made them feel seen, respected, and genuinely valued. That is the whole secret. It was never about the perfect words. It was always about the person delivering them. Part 6. The 3 AHA moments. What changes when you add this final layer? Aha moment 1. The ask is never just about what you want. It is always about how you make the other person feel. Every ask happens inside a relationship, even a brief one, even a transactional one. And inside every relationship, the question that matters most is not, "What are you asking for?" It is, "How do I feel about being asked by you?" When you lead with genuine acknowledgement, you answer that second question before they even have to ask it. You make them feel respected,
Seen.
valued. And from that emotional position, the yes becomes not just possible, it becomes natural. Aha moment 2. Acknowledgement is the rarest currency in a distracted world. Think about how often, truly how often, you feel genuinely seen by another person. Not complimented, not praised with generic words.
Seen.
Specifically, as if the person in front of you actually looked at you and noticed something real. It doesn't happen often.
Does it?
Which means the moment you offer it, the moment you pause before your ask and genuinely name something true about the person you're asking, you're giving them something that almost no one else in their life is giving them. And people are extraordinarily loyal to the people who make them feel seen. That loyalty does not manifest as manipulation. It manifests as willingness, as openness, as a genuine desire to support the person who took the time to recognize them. Give acknowledgement freely. It costs you nothing, and its return is beyond calculation. Aha moment 3. The best version of you is not the one who asks most strategically, it is the one who asks most honestly. Everything in this series, every framework, every script, every tool, was designed to do one thing: help you show up more honestly in the moments that matter. Not more cleverly, not more strategically, not more manipulatively, more honestly. Because the deepest truth about asking is this. When you ask from a place of genuine clarity, when you know what you want, you understand your own worth, you see the person in front of you fully, and you speak without hiding, you are not using a technique. You are simply being human. Fully, unapologetically, without armor. And that version of you, that fully present, genuinely honest, clearly asking version of you, is the most compelling version of you that exists. It always was. You just needed 4 episodes to find your way back to it. Everything changes from here. We have come a long way together. In episode 1, we named the truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. That effort without asking leaves you invisible. That silence is not patience. It is self-abandonment dressed up as virtue. In episode 2, we went to the root. We found the fear, not as a monster, but as a learned response. A childhood calculation that was never updated. We named its 5 faces. We built the tools to face it. In episode 3, we got practical. We built the yes-gay framework. We wrote the scripts. We turned asking from an overwhelming event into a learnable, repeatable skill. And today, in this final episode, we added the layer that changes everything. Acknowledgment. The simple, profound, ancient practice of seeing another person fully before you ask anything of them. 4 episodes, 1 transformation. But here is what I need you to understand as we close. The transformation is not complete because you listened. The transformation begins the moment you act. Every insight in this series, every framework, every script, every truth exists as potential energy right now.
Stored.
Waiting. The moment you use it, the moment you walk into a conversation with acknowledgement on your lips and clarity in your ask and courage in your posture, that potential energy becomes kinetic. It becomes your life actually changing. And it will not happen all at once. It never does. It will happen in moments, small ones at first. A conversation that goes differently than it would have before. An ask that lands with a weight and a warmth it never had. A yes that comes back more easily than you expected because you gave something before you asked for anything. And then another moment, and another. Until one day you look back, not at this series but at your life, and you notice that things are different. Not because the world changed, because you learned to show up in it differently. That is the whole thing. That is all 4 episodes in 1 sentence. Show up, see people, ask clearly, and watch the world respond. Here is your final ask from me. And yes, I am asking. Go back to episode 1 of the series. Watch it again, not as someone hearing it for the first time, but as someone who now has all 4 pieces. Notice what you hear differently. Notice what lands with more weight. Notice the version of yourself that existed at the beginning of episode 1, and the version sitting here now. That distance, that is growth.
And it belongs to you.
If this series changed something for you, and I genuinely believe it has, I am asking you to do one thing. Not subscribe. Not like the video. Though both of those matter, and I appreciate them deeply. I am asking you to share this series with one person who needs it. You know who they are. The person who is brilliant and overlooked. The person who works harder than anyone and gets less than they deserve. The person who has everything it takes, except the courage to ask. Send them episode 1.
Tell them why.
Because sharing this series is itself an act of asking. It is you asking someone you care about to invest in themselves. And that might be the most important ask you make this week. This series is complete, but the work is just beginning. What comes next in this channel goes even deeper into the psychology of communication, influence, and the kind of presence that changes how every room receives you. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close. The best is genuinely still ahead. I will see you in the next one. You were never the problem. You just needed to learn the language. Now you speak it. Go ask for everything you deserve.